Welcome to ReNew. Tonight we're talking about an important topic of respecting God. How much do I really respect God? Know a lot about Him, know a lot about the Bible, but how much do I really trust Him? How much do I really rely on Him? I want to give a test that I've come up for myself, that the words that come out of my mouth is a barometer of how much I trust God, how much I respect God. Now think about that. Think about the words that come out of your mouth. If those words are the barometer for how much we trust God, how much do we trust God? When the words that fuss, when the words that cuss, when the words that cut up and tear down and express fear and create conflict and talk down about somebody, we talk that there's no hope, that this is going really, really bad. Those sorts of words that come out of our mouths, if that is the barometer for how much we trust and respect God, then again the question is, how much do I trust and respect God? And I think that's it. I'm not showing God that I even recognize that He is there. I am certainly not showing God that I trust Him. For this happens and I immediately respond. And whatever the words are come out. And they don't show a trust and reliance on God. They don't even show an acknowledgement of God. It's all me. And Satan, the deceiver, he will make it all about us. And we pop off, we blow off, we show fear by the way that we normally I can tell it by my words. You may be the opposite. You may not use words, you may just use silence. It might be just words in your head. But whether they come out of your mouth, whether they come out in your head, do they show respect for God? Do they show trust for God? And we want that because it's God that gives us wisdom. It's God that gives the answers. It's God that gives directions. It's God that gives us the ability to respect the authorities that are around us, even if they're not acting appropriately, because we trust God and we know that He can make it right and that He will use even messed up things to carry out His ultimate will. If we trust God, if we have Him in our thoughts, then when we use words with other people, we will be more respectful. We will be more loving with those words. I want you to hit pause, go get your Bible, and turn to James. It's in the New Testament. Turn to James chapter 3, and I'll be here waiting on you. Okay, let's get started. James chapter 3, turn to verse 13. Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct let him show his works in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast and be false to the truth. This is not the wisdom that comes down from above, but is earthly, unspiritual, demonic. For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice. Let's stop right there for a second. Do you see what this is saying? Instead of getting the wisdom from above, we are using our own wisdom. We're using earthly wisdom. And you see it says, but is earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. This is something Satan wants to make me and you think that we have the answers, that our wisdom should be higher than God's wisdom, that we really don't need to pay attention to God's wisdom, that we don't need to seek after God's wisdom. This is comparing the wisdom that comes down from above, which I really need, versus my own sense of right and wrong and my own sense of wisdom. Let's keep reading here. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. In the Sermon on the Mount, it's in Matthew chapter 5, the very last thing that Jesus said, starting out with being poor in spirit to the highest rung, I guess, on the ladder, is, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the sons or the children of God. Making peace. Using my tongue, the words that come out of my tongue, to help make peace. Make peace with others. Make peace in myself. Make peace, help people make peace with God. That's what needs to come out of my mouth. That's what needs to come out of our mouths. Our tongues being the barometer of how much we trust, respect, and honor God. Let's make a difference. When we hear those things coming out of our mouths, let that be the bell, the gong that rings in our head that, wait a minute, I need to refocus. I need to focus my thoughts, my attention on God. James finishes up in chapters 4 and 5 with the answer to the question about how we refocus. In chapter 4, look down at verse 2 in James. It's the second part of that. It says, you do not have because you do not ask. And then if you turn over to chapter 5, in verse 16, the second part of that verse, the prayer of a righteous person has great power as it is working. And it's through prayer. Prayer is the way that we connect to God. Prayer is the way that we get the wisdom from God. Prayer is the way, that's the place that we need to, if you want to spout off to God. You're not going to say anything that's going to surprise Him. Spout off to Him. Cast your cares, cast your burdens on Him. If you're mad, tell Him about it. Include Him in every event in your life, in every conversation. That's hard to do. I have been trying to do that recently. Probably have been trying to do it for a long time in my life, but I've been really focused on it since we've been talking about respect and how I show God I respect Him, and this thing about the tongue being the barometer for the respect that I have for God in my life. That's made a difference. It's made me stop and think and stop, and instead of those spews coming out of, okay, God, help me deal with this. Help give me wisdom on how to handle these things. I hope this has been helpful for you as it has been for me.